Good morning, this is Nicholas from Gandora Gaming, and today I bring you guys my red-green Oden deck profile 2025 post EB02. Now, I've been really excited. I haven't been posting a lot of One Piece content lately, just because I've been kind of waiting on the newer sets. So one of the big issues with playing TCG Sim is that you're playing with all these new cards, you're a couple of sets ahead, and then bam, congratulations, the new format is a format you've already been playing for several months and you're kind of bored of it. You're just like, man, this is cool and all, but all the new stuff's already been out. I've been playing with all the new stuff. When does that come out? And that's kind of what the issue was. So I've been taking a little break from One Piece, at least when it comes to like playing on the sim and going to locals. However, now that we're finally starting to catch back up to the actual modern format that I've been playing online, I am back, and I'm here to bring you guys my red-green Oden deck profile for y'all today. This is a leader that I think has huge potential, maybe not even just this format, but the upcoming format as well, EB01. This is a leader that's highly slept on. If you don't know, he has two abilities. His first ability is pretty insane. All Lana Wano characters, regardless of their counter, gain 1,000 counter. Basically saying, hey, if I have a character with no counter, and they're Wano type, he has 1,000 counter now. Pretty nice. Basically meaning most of every card in his deck is discardable for counter, which feels really good. The next really good thing about him is that for 1 Dawn, when attacking, if you have a 5 cost or higher land a Wano type character on your field, he gains 1,000 power until the end of the next turn. That means he's swinging for 7, and then on your opponent's turn, he's a 6k leader, which feels really good. And luckily for us, Land of Wano type, we've just been getting a whole bunch of new cards throughout the last few sets. And he just got a new Yamato from EB02 that actually makes his deck really insane. So let's get straight into this. So first and first, we are playing 4 copies of Goldie Roger. I considered playing the Shanks in his deck or the Whitebeard. I felt like Roger was just better. One, he is just a 1300 rush. He's the largest character in the game. But he also helps you just close out games. This is a super aggro deck. The idea is that we just want to punch our opponent to death by swinging 7 every turn. That's kind of what his deck wants to do. His deck wants to go second because that's its curve. And it wants to swing 7 with everything it has. And it just wants to put so much pressure on your opponent that when you drop the Roger down, they don't have counter to survive. They just die. So Roger's kind of just a win button for the deck, which it feels really good. We're also playing, of course, 4 copies of Monkey D. Dragon. This is another great card. These are the only cards in our deck that do not have counter. But luckily, we have a Isho that we can discard from our hand in order to give him counter, which feels really good. If you don't know, Dragon has the ability on play. Basically, he gives 2 Restodon to a leader or character. So he fulfills the leader requirement. Basically being a 6 cost 8k character. A 6 cost 9k character. And it just has rush. Feels really amazing. These are 2 of the best red cards in the game that are like in archetype. So we gotta play them. For our last big characters, we're all playing 2 copies of Kozuki Oden. This is like our searchable version of Zoro for the deck. He's an 8 cost 8k that has the ability to rest 3 Dawn to restand himself. And then if he's ever KO'd, he gets to play a 3 cost or lower Lando Wano type character from deck, which is pretty solid. I wish you can bring out a 4 cost character, but that's fine. The reason why we play him is because 1, he's searchable and can win games. But 2, he also just has counter. Because he's Lando Wano type, our leader gives him counter. So worst comes to worst, we can just discard him from hand if we don't need him. But in some really good scenarios, he does come up and he does help you deal with like the best things in the format. Next, we're playing 4 copies of these lovely, lovely brand new Yamato. This card is what makes this deck actually insane. So if you don't know, this is a brand new 6 cost 7k Lana Yamato. She has 1,000 counter because of leader ability. And she has the ability, activate main once per turn. If your leader is Lana Wano type or Porcus the Ace, you give a Rested Dawn to your leader. This card gains rush. So that is actually pretty insane. It fills one of the biggest issues of leaving a Dawn open. And also on your 6 Dawn turn, if you weren't able to see Hiyori on your previous turn, it means as long as you have this card in hand, from 6 Dawn forwards, you're always going to have your leader's always going to be live, which feels really good. This card is actually essential for the combo. What you want to do is on your second on turn, you want to swing 7 with your leader while establishing an Ezo off a Hiyori. And then on your third turn, going second, on your 6th on turn, you want to go 7, 7, and then 7 with your leader. That's kind of the gimmick of this deck. You just want to keep putting a lot of pressure on your opponent, and this card helps you do that. The curve is absolutely insane. So you can just go 7, 7, 7, then on your 8th on turn, you can play out like a monkey Kazuki Oden or a lovely, lovely dragon, and just keep going from there. Next, you're playing 4 copies of Ezo. Again, he doesn't have counter, but that's fine because your leader ability gives him counter. He's a on play, give 1 Resodon to your leader character. Then, on your opponent's turn, you could trash any card from your hand to make it a 2K counter, which basically says, hey, all these cards in hand that aren't Wano types, if you need to discard them because you have too many in hand, use this guy and he'll make them counter, which feels really good. He's also just a 5/7, which is a great stat line. Next, we're also playing 4 copies of Denjiro. Denjiro feels like the only card in the deck that I'm like, he's alright. He's probably one of the worst of the 5Ks. He's a 5/7 who has a Dawn ability when attacking. If your leader is Kazuki Oden, he gets to set 2 Dawn as active. He's probably the worst out of the 5K characters. I probably would cut him for something else, but just in case you don't see Ezo, you do need Denjiro. So we do need 5K Land of Wano types. And then finally, we're also playing 4 copies of this Yamato. This is technically the worst 5K to play, but it's also a 2K, so it's much better. It does have the ability to activate main to give a Resodon to your leader, which feels good. But it is a 5/5, so its stats aren't great. We're never actually trying to play this unless we're desperate and we just need an early body. But that's usually how it goes. Next, we're playing 2 copies of this Yamato. This card on play rests a 6-cost character, so this is a 4/6 that can rest a 6-cost blocker, which feels really good. We're also playing 2 copies of Ryuma. This is a 4/6 as well with a 1,000 counter. That on play or when KO'd one of your opponent's rested 4-cost characters, which feels really good. If you need to go into an opponent's board, clearing their characters, it feels really good. Not to mention their stat lines aren't bad. I just wish they were like maybe 1 more cost higher so that it would trigger your leader, which feels good. Next, we're playing 4 copies of the Hiyori. Hiyori is essential to this deck. It's this card you want to see with one of your 5-cost characters on turn 2. Because the idea is you want to go second, and you will probably want to go searcher first, try to get your pieces. Then on turn 2, you want to go Hiyori, cheat out a Isho, or cheat out somebody, and then just proceed from there. So your ideal curve is to go searcher turn 1, Kazuki Hiyori into a lovely, lovely Isho turn 2. Ezo. I keep calling it Isho. It's Ezo. My bad. And then turn 3, you want to go Yamato. Turn 4, Dragon or Oden. That's kind of the gimmick of this deck. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Ezo. This is the 2K of the deck. Feels absolutely amazing. I got the winter one because I won with Blue Dolphy. Feels really nice. We're also playing 4 copies of Otama because Otama is insane. This is the only card that's actually, of these right here, are the only cards you got to worry about getting rotated next year. But we have a long time to play with them, so we might as well get their use. This is a 2K that can rest any 4-cost character, which feels really good with the Yamato. And this is Otama, who can give on play minus 2K to a character, which is very good for utility reasons. For our last 2K we're playing is the other Yamato, who's a searcher. On play, leave the top 5 cards of the deck to add a green Land of Wano type character from deck to hand. This card is really good, but we're usually just using it as another 2K, which feels nice. And then finally, you're all playing 4 copies of lovely, lovely Momonosuke, who is the searcher of the deck. So basically, you can rest this card, rest a Dawn to look at the top 5 cards of your deck to add to your hand whatever you need. I also got the winter version for playing Blue Dolphy as well. So that's really it for the deck profile. It should be 50 cards, and it's a really fun deck. The reason why I think this deck is really good into the upcoming meta is because a lot of the upcoming meta decks are very greedy when it comes to their counter and their hand size. And what I mean by that is, at least when I got from playing on the sim, which maybe, who knows how that translates to the actual format when it comes, but Nami, blue-yellow Nami, blue-purple Luffy, green-purple Luffy, they're very greedy decks. They rely a lot on the lovely, lovely event. a giant. They rely on it very importantly. And if you can consistently whittle down their hand, it's really hard for them to keep going because they're like, oh, I'm a 6K leader, I'm a 7K leader. I can know how to play as many counters as the other decks because it's harder for them to swing at me. So if you can consistently swing at them for a good number, you are actually putting a lot of pressure on those decks. Just because of how greedy they play their builds. Now, don't get me wrong, there might be one guy or two that might play like 10 2Ks. Maybe you run into them. But at least what I've been seeing when it comes to current deck list, that most they're playing is like maybe like 8 2Ks. And you can really punish them by just putting a lot of pressure with your leader, with your character swings, which feels really good. I think that this deck has a good chance into purple green Luffy, and a really good chance, at least more like a 50-50 chance, into the Nami deck and into blue purple Luffy when that deck comes out. I feel like the pressure you can put on is just kind of insane, and you can kind of just keep up with their tempo, which feels really good. Anyway, I hope you all enjoy. Don't do anything stupid. See you on the next one, and bye-bye.